Angry with reform delays, India calls UN system anachronistic. With another year of meetings on reforming the United Nations, and particularly the question of the expansion of the Security Council, coming to a close in June, India lashed out at the UN system with its most scathing attack thus far. In a speech at the UNSC this week, the Indian permanent representative called the UN Charter anachronistic, adding that it has failed in handling the COVID 19 pandemic, the Ukraine war, terrorism, and climate change. Ambassador Ruchira Kamboj was speaking at a session convened by Russia that called for a discussion on how to make multilateralism effective by defending the UN Charter. Veto for all or none. Ms. Kamboj also called for expanding the Security Council's permanent membership and hit out at the veto power given to the P5 of the US, UK, France, Russia, and China. Can we practice effective multilateralism by defending a charter that makes five nations more equal than others and provides to each of those five the power to ignore the collective will of the remaining 188 member states? Ms. Kamboj asked at the meeting chaired by Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov on Monday. This is the first time India has specifically criticized giving the veto to the P5, clarifying its stand that in any expansion of the Security Council, the veto must be given to all members or none. The tough words in the Indian speech are a reflection of India's frustration at the slow pace of the intergovernmental negotiations (IGN) process, as well as its determination to keep UN reforms at the top of the global body's agenda, even though India is not in the Security Council this year, officials said. The IGN process, which began in 2008, is now in its 15th year. And though a draft text of the reforms proposed was presented in 2015, there is little indication that negotiations on the basis of a text will begin in the near future. Ms. Kamboj also called for a clear attribution of groups and member states, or naming those who oppose expansions for specific countries, indicating the United for Consensus group that includes Argentina, Italy, Mexico, Pakistan, and Turkey. All eyes will now be on the next IGN session in June, the last for this year, where national statements of various countries will be webcast live for the first time, that will discuss the way forward in the process. Significantly, at the UNSC meeting this week, many joined India's voice of concern about the process and about the lack of representation for Africa, South America, and Asia. China is the only Asian P5 member. Apart from reform, India also called for an urgent review of the UN Charter from 1945, citing Article 109 that had said a review conference must be held within a decade of the original charter being adopted.